Pokemon Switch is just going to be a boring reboot of the worst generation. Hey, this is GatorX, and as January comes to a close, we can take a look back at the overwhelming amount of Pokemon Nintendo Switch discussion videos. I mean, we know nothing about this game, and yet it's provided hours of content for content creators. Recently, I stumbled upon a video series by the YouTube channel Commonwealth Realm. This is a video series where they discuss ideas that could potentially be implemented into the Pokemon Switch game. Now, these are some genuinely interesting videos, and I recommend watching them if you haven't already. But one of them got me thinking some conflicting thoughts. The topic of the video is the possibility of a reboot of the Kanto games being released on the Nintendo Switch later this year in 2018. Again, I recommend you check out their video to hear their points, but right now I'm going to talk about why I think this will not and should not happen. First of all, it's never been done before. Now, we all know how Game Freak likes to do the unexpected, but something like this has probably never been done before for a reason. If anything, the appropriate time to do this may have been in 2016 during the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. I could see how having this on the Switch would be a good way to get people who have been away from Nintendo, but have recently come back because of the Switch, but overall it would probably be a lazy way out. And Game Freak has already done this quite a few times. We've already had several visits to Kanto. Game Freak has steadily been doing remakes of Pokemon games every few years. Why remake a game that has already been remade and recently re-released? Dang, those were a lot of R sounds. Even if the region and story were changed up and it would be utilizing a brand new game engine, why go through that trouble? Because at that point, it's practically a brand new game rather than a Generation 1 reboot. I personally do like and remember the Kanto region in Generation 1 fondly, but it's gotten more than its fair share of nostalgia. The time has come to move on. One argument I hear for a Generation 1 reboot is that it could potentially reintroduce Pokemon to those who left the series back then. You mean like Pokemon Go did almost 2 years ago? And yes, this would be on the Switch, the brand new console that Nintendo's trying really hard to push, but I would bet the people who currently own the Switch are already planning on purchasing the Pokemon game when it comes out. And the general audience of the type of people who picked up Pokemon Go after being hit by a wave of nostalgia wouldn't shell out $300 for a proprietary tablet just to play it. And there's a lot of P's too. Pokemon games have always debuted on a console with new Pokemon, new regions, and new stories. Pokemon does have the potential to be a console seller, but oftentimes they'll release it once most of their dedicated user base has already purchased the console in anticipation. There's also the technical aspect of a new generation, in terms of the Pokemon and other important data that would be stored within the game. If a Generation 1 reboot were released on the Switch in 2018 that was meant to be followed by a Generation 8 game in the future, it would have to incorporate the Generation 8 Pokemon in the game data so that they would be compatible once it releases. And if you're at the point of making a game that runs on the Switch and has some 100 odd new Pokemon in the code, why not just make a Generation 8 game? This would be like releasing Heart Gold and Soul Silver before Diamond and Pearl. Not to mention the mess that would occur once data miners dig through the game and find a generation's worth of unreleased Pokemon. This would not be ideal. If there were somehow still an argument for a Generation 1 reboot coming out later this year to the Switch, it would be that they could be standalone games, not necessarily Generation 8, but just a graphical update of Kanto on the Switch that isn't directly compatible with the next generation when it comes out. I know this sounds overly complicated, but that's because it is. This would be too much out of the way and would take up too many resources from developing an actual brand new generation. And no, it wouldn't be a simple small game that could be put out to hold everyone over. It would be a waste of time and resources when Game Freak's main objective should be full force toward Generation 8. Overall, I think Kanto should just be left alone. I did have fun last year brainstorming what it could be like if we ever got Generation 1 reboots or sequels, but since then I've realized it's a genuinely stupid idea. I've been doubtful of a Pokemon game even coming to the Switch this year, but some recent hints have got me reconsidering it. I want to believe, but we'll have to wait and see. I just know that it won't be a reboot. But let me know your thoughts by leaving a comment. I'd also like to remind you to check out my Twitch channel. I recently got my capture card and will be streaming Nintendo Switch games. I'm trying to reach 50 followers to become an affiliate, so it would be great if you could help out with that. Also, over on GatorX Plays, I've got some big changes coming up in the new year. If you like the videos that I do on this channel, they'll be pretty similar except focused on Nintendo as a whole and video games in general. Links will be in the description and end cards. If you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorX. Have a nice day.